electricity today, you wouldn't have your computers, your television, and many other projects. And so therefore, I take no notice of these experts because there are no experts in this technology. We have to train and develop them today so that the future has a better opportunity of surviving, and we can create that paradise that should be here today. That paradise should be here today. There's no excuse whatsoever except ignorance and greed.
Well, thank you, John, and thank you, Brad. This has been a great treat for us, and certainly for the viewing audience to hear from you directly. And Alex.
Yeah, thank you, John. And I'm going to be looking more into your work and mentioning some of the things that I come across as I look into your stuff on the internet. And I think that this is the beginning of a massive awakening, and that was connected with this conference that Joel put on in November with many others. There's massive interest in free energy in this city of Portland, Oregon, where we're broadcasting from live right now. And so we will do our best to continue to educate the public in every way that we can. Thank you both for being on. Thank you, Brad, as well, for helping facilitate with this.
Thank you, Alex. And if I may, again, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Joel. And a special thanks to our dear friend, John Cornett. We miss him, and I understand he's under the weather. So a shout-out and get well, John, to our buddy. And thank you so much for having us on the air.
Thank you. And again, see you later, John. We're gonna take some phone calls if anyone wants to call in. This is definitely was a very focused show today with this guest. It definitely needed to be on. But the number is 503-288-4442. 503-288-4442. You have literally less than 10 minutes to call in. So call in, turn your TV down, and we'll hear what you have to say.
You know, the callers need to understand that they won't be able to ask a question directly of John.
Right.
But I'm certainly able to.
Sure. But they can, I think, contact him through his website. And there's just massive interest in all types of stuff. And I look at, we talk about grid meltdown constantly on the show, and the optimistic side is that hardship, that struggle, that hunger that people are going to feel is going to activate something in their consciousness to where they have to create their own. So we have to create our own jobs. The government's not going to create jobs for us. We have to we have to grow our own. We have to have a transformation in how we walk through this reality. And the future is exciting. Despite some of the hardships along the way, we're going to see major breakthroughs.
Well, I am an optimist in this whole endeavor of bringing out these type of technologies to the public domain. But I tell you, it is sobering to look at the possibilities of something that takes the grid down, because we are not prepared as a nation to handle this. I mean, most of us don't even know where our food comes from.
Here comes the sun.
Exactly.
Okay, let's take that phone call. We'll take the phone calls as they come in tonight. Go ahead, caller.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much for this enlightening program.
You're welcome.
And my question is, I do understand during the presentation that one SEG by itself is extremely expensive to construct. My question is, and I'll take my answer off the air, is there any way an individual citizen can perhaps construct components of this device and supply them to whoever is constructing the final product? Thank you very much.
Well, I think based on my recent meeting with John and Brad down in Los Angeles, that question is probably best going to be addressed by what is the fruit of the process to make this layered prototype. As you heard John describe, the old process was using a slurry mixture of components. Now, and that not being amenable to any type of mass production, now it's going to be some type of 4-layered composite. And that still has to be borne out. And I think that's kind of the big pivot point, is when they are able to have the instrumentation to do that, the type of fabrication machinery to do that, and then show that that actually does reproduce the effect, then you'll be able to probably get a better answer to that question. But I'd encourage you to go on to the John Searl Story website and then contact Brad would be the best point of contact. Get a hold of Brad directly rather than John. Just so you know, I know John is very coherent and mentally sharp, but he's also in his late 70s and does have, if you're in his physical presence, you would know that he definitely has some age-related challenges, and so he really relies heavily on Brad to help field these type of questions and inquiries.
And as someone with no technical knowledge on this level, I think it would be interesting to talk to a car mechanic that has a little bit of knowledge of free energy. And I can see how potentially certain mechanical parts that are laying around not doing what they're actually fully capable of could maybe one day be utilized and taught widespread in a systematic collapse. I'm thinking about 100th monkey syndrome.
Yeah.
Some information spreading very fast amongst men that really truly know how to work with their hands.
Well, there's no doubt that one of the promises of a new energy era is that there becomes a tremendous economic boom from retrofit. You think of all the electrical devices that we're dependent on right now, and our vehicle technologies right now, all of which are using essentially old style sources of energy or the generation of that energy. So every vehicle that's using fossil fuel right now would be retrofitted to some type of magnetic platform. And whether it's a Searl Effect generator or it might be some type of solid state device or a cold fusion generator that's transferring its heat output to electrical output. I mean, and no matter which way you go, our whole fleet is going to be an electric fleet. That's very, very clear. And these hybrid, the gas electric hybrids right now, or the plug-in hybrids with a lot of batteries in them, that's just basically setting the stage for us to eventually be to an all-electric vehicle fleet. It's just that the generator aspect is going to be one of these radical new technologies, and that's going to open up all kinds of possibilities for new jobs and for derivative businesses to come out of that.
503-288-4442. We're almost out of time, but we have a few more minutes. So cover your book real quick. Breakthroughpower.net.
Yeah, Breakthrough Power is a collaboration between myself and my co-author Gene Manning to basically take the stories and the technologies that we've become aware of, and through our personal interactions with a lot of inventors in the free energy community, to put it together in one story that is very presentable to the non-technical public. There's been all kinds of conferences and books written for the PhD level. If you're an electrical engineer or physicist, there's all kinds of material out there, but for the mainstream public, it's just goes
Right.
way over everyone's head. So what this book is to do is to give people a real good flavor of what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
And we were blessed to have won a National Book Award for it in the category of most likely to save the planet.
Right.
Actually, that was by the Independent Publisher Society. And I think it speaks to the fact that we were able to boil down a lot of complex technical topics into something that has strong mass appeal. And you don't need an advanced degree to understand what's in here. And it's something that we think is vital for the public at large to know what's coming, to be able to, most importantly, understand the implications. We don't need to all be technologists and be able to build our own device, but we do need to understand the implications of us doing nothing but staying with the status quo, because that's a train headed off a cliff.
Right.
But if we collectively choose to embrace the new technologies, help to remove the barriers that have held them at bay for decades, if not centuries, bring this in, we can have an incredible world full of beauty, promise, health, shared abundance. It's just limitless in the possibilities.
Right.
Just like none of us could have envisioned having a cell phone, smartphone, the 10th generation PC, on and on. We never could have envisioned that 20 years ago. The same thing. We cannot envision what actually will be the case when we start to have a lot of these free energy technologies.
Exit Vox Populi and embrace awareness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, what projects are you going to be involved in over the course of the next year or 2 years that are going to be coming up on the horizon that you might want to let people know about?
Well, we have been approached. New Energy Movement has been approached by a few inventors who are working on some very high gain technologies, and who are interested in open sourcing the technologies. And what that means is they're willing to forego patenting on the technologies and releasing the how to build plans directly to the public. Now that's the type of consciousness that I personally believe is what's required in order for these things to finally break into the public domain. I mentioned near the beginning of the show this cold fusion device, the Rossi cold fusion device that was developed by the two Italian researchers. As amazing as that technology is, and they've demonstrated it to have a 10 kilowatt output for it using a cold fusion process, what is a little bit sad to me is that they are going to wait till they get patents on that technology before they release the principle of its operation, basically the secrets behind it. Why I'm so disappointed in that is because we have seen so many of these inventors be thwarted whenever they've tried to get patent.
When
and it's an easy place for the lions at the gate to lurk, is right at the patent office, and they do.
And another day and time would probably be the time to focus on Tesla a lot further. That's something that I have yet to look really deep into. But, this is the optimism. It's knowing what is possible in light of all the challenges we face. Folks, we're out of time. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome, and I really appreciate it, Alex.
I want to let you know you can contact me at 503-349-6237 if you'd like to help assist expand the message of the show and the show itself. We'll see you next week. I'm Alex Hansen, reminding you the path to the ultimate source of truth and power still lies within. Take care.
Energy move.